orders of Edward I, as he required an easier and safer access into the tower. Now, rather than travel those packed and narrow streets of London, where convoys could be attacked, stores could be stolen, but more importantly, prisoners set free, he ordered a hole to be knocked through the outer defensive wall, so at high tide boats could pass through this gate and unload their cargo in safety. Now, this gate was originally called the Watergate. So, for my new American friends, we had one of those before you as well. So, how and when become known as Traitors' Gate? This occurred during the Tudor period, due to a large amount of traitors entering this mighty fortress through that very grim gate. No less than 4 Queens of England. Queen Anne Boleyn, Queen Catherine Howard, Lady Jane Grey, the uncrowned Queen of 9 days, at the age of 15. She was executed at the age of 16. And Princess Elizabeth Tudor, who is soon to become Queen Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, all entered the Tower of London through that grim gate. And out of those 4 ladies, 3 are still here to this day. And behind you there is the infamous Bloody Tower, originally called the Garden Tower. Its name was changed from the orders of Queen Elizabeth I to commemorate the many, many tragedies that were enacted inside. Now, a very famous man, a man called John Gerard, the hanging judge, committed suicide in that lower chamber. Now, he was highly respected and extremely highly educated. Actually, he was so well educated, he managed to commit suicide by stabbing himself in the back 14 times and throwing the knife out the window. That's how clever he was. Another famous man held there, Sir Walter Raleigh, held in that tower as a prisoner for 13 years. Now, all the records we have got state he was never tortured or punished in any way, but they also state every single night he was locked in a very small room with his wife and kids. Mental torture's far better, isn't it, gentlemen? Now, his wife loved him so much. On the day of his execution, his wife paid 2 soldiers a guinea apiece to climb up onto London Bridge to regain his head, which they did. They brought the head back down, handed it over to his wife. She then placed it in a large silk purse, which she carried with her everywhere she went for the next 12 years. She was not invited to dinner parties very often. Now, within the archway there, later we will see a portcullis or a Norman dropgate, the spiky thing coming down from the top. That one weighs over 2.5 tons. It's over 750 years old, and even to this day, it's still in full working order. Now, remember this when you go home and you watch your medieval films on the telly, and you see Kevin Costner, Errol Flynn, Mel Gibson holding the portcullis up with one hand and fighting off the enemy with the other. It weighs 2.5 tons. We call that Hollywood history. We're now going to pass through the archway up into the ward. But before we do, let's have a miracle.